So the same way that we look, so the same way that we look at a clock, let me stop sharing. The same way we look at a clock and we see that the long hand has moved from the one to the five, we can know that hey, 5 minutes has passed. The same thing we can look at when we look at our charts, right? Go back to my screen. So when I look at this, when I look at price, let's say starting from here, let's just look at this one candle. Starting from here to here, I don't say it moved 5 minutes. I don't say it moved 5 seconds. No, I say that it has moved X amount of pips, right? So again, pips measure the amount of movement for asset during that time period, time frame, right? And you don't only have to measure the single candle. You can measure, from all the way down here to here to here, or let's say you wanted to measure from here going down. You can do that, right? You calculate that not by time, not by seconds, but by pips. So, all right, now when we are counting, looking at these numbers, right? We're gonna have the value just like a clock. You're gonna see the seconds, the minutes, and the hour, right? But here, what we're gonna have is we're gonna have a numerical number. And mostly speaking, generally speaking, this is how the pair will look. It's gonna have one number in front of the digit, sorry, in front of the decimal point, and then 5 digits after, generally speaking. Now, Japanese pairs are different. We'll talk about that later. When we are counting, the five numbers after the decimal point, we don't consider the fifth digit, right? The fifth digit is like the millisecond, right? Nobody looks at the clock and says, it's 12:30 and 35 seconds. No, we don't do that. We just say it's 12:30, right? So we think of that. We call this one here, the fifth digit is called the pipette, and that is again a number that we ignore or you can't ignore. So if price has moved from 1.2500 to 1.25100, in this case, we would say it has moved 10 pips, right? Again, we're ignoring this last digit here, and then we only look at these. We can look at the rest before that, right? So if you ignore this last digit and then you count up 10, you'll have 1.2510, right? And vice versa. Let's say price is going down 0.49. We would say it has went down 10 pips, right? As in price has decreased 10 pips. So now I'm gonna give y'all a bonus. Now I ain't gonna be able to see the feedback, but you tell me how many pips it has went from this one, starting at 1.24900. Went prices went to 1.2. How many pips is price going down? I'll give you a few seconds. Easy, easy math. All right, the answer is it has went down 100 pips. Again, ignoring this last digit here, ignoring this last digit here. 0 minus 0, 0. 9 minus 0. I mean, sorry, 9 minus 9, 0. 4 minus 3, 1. And all this is 0.0. Right. So in this case, we would say prices went down 10, sorry, 100 pips. And is that simple, right? Even if it's a simple adding and subtraction. That's all it is, ignoring that last digit. Now, when you come to the yen pair, so anything that has JPY in it, so USD JPY, GBP JPY, Euro JPY, anything of those such, it's going to be the same rule. You're going to ignore that last digit, and you're only going to count these two digits right here. And if necessary, you may have to count the next digit after that. Same one like this one. Ignore the last digit, count these two, and if you have to add, so after subtract, so on and so forth, you have to do that. So in this case, let's say price has went up. We're going to say, so you're adding. I already told you going up 1.2. So if prices went from 1.210 to 1.320, price has went up 100. Sorry, let me do the math. Gee, one has went up 11 pips. 11 pips. That's it. Easy. And again, that last digit is the pipette. Last digit is pipette. All right. So hopefully that was simple. Hopefully that was easy. Because now I'm about to show you how to get even easier, right? So we know the candle, we know the opening and close price. So now let's get to the practical application. We're looking here at this candle. Ooh, this is a big juicy candle. Let's see how much is moved. We're gonna look at these numbers up here, right? At the open was 1.32896 and it closed at 1.33881, right? Open and close. It's time it open, it's time it close. We don't do the high and the low. Those wicks, we don't do it. Do the open and the close, the body, count the body. So in this case, that's a big number. It's two ways to make it even easier. You can do the old school math, or you can pull out your tool. Boom. This is a measuring tool. You can find it on the left side. And as we can see, it has moved. Look at this number right here. 99.9 pips. So they're counting the pipette here. But you can just say simply 99 pips. Ooh, this was a 99 pip move. Use the measuring tool again. Use it on this candle. How many pips it moved? 37 pips. Nice. Nice. So that's another way that we can count. I don't know if I said I'm not sure two more ways, but yeah. So that's we can add, we use the ruler, or we can be a little bit more complex. We can, um looking at the values up top, do the math that way. Or we can go look to the right, look to the right. So yeah, just a simple overview. That was pretty much it for today. Again, I went over talked about candlesticks and pips. You know what I'm saying? Just give you a little bit more information about what you're looking at. When you're looking at the charts, you're looking at the candlesticks, right? Four things, it's two things. You got the body, which is the rectangle, and then the wicks are the lines that hang out on the two ends. Sometimes they don't have wicks. It's okay. Sometimes that just means the low price. In this case, the low price and the open price was at the same point. As we can see, um, the the open was 32896 and the low was 32882. Okay, I guess it did have a smaller wick, but we can't even see it. So yeah, that's two parts that make up the candle. Then you got the wicks body, you got the open price, the low price, open price, open, high, low, and close. And then I talked about pips. How do we measure that? That is measuring the movement in the market. But I said definite measurement of movement, right? So we want to see how far something has moved, either up or down. We can measure by one of three ways. Sorry, three of three ways. Going over the candle, looking at the prices by looking at the price to the right and count that way, do the old school math. Or we can do math by going over the candle again, looking at the values up top, find the open and close. You can count from there. Or three, use your ruler. You know what I'm saying? However far you want to see how prices went, and then they'll tell you how many pips it went. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Hopefully, y'all got some value. Very simple, but definitely necessary to know in this trading journey. Basic level information. You gotta know what's on your chart, which is candles. You gotta know how to count how far something has moved, and yeah, you gotta know what you're looking at. So once you get that information, I mean, it's going to either become like to the point that I'm at now. It's not irrelevant, but it's just like I just overlook it. Whereas, or it's not something that I think too much about because I just know what I'm looking at. If I want to count, I can count, but I don't necessarily count too much. It's not in my focus. But it's information that you must know as a trader. So y'all stay blessed by the best. God always, God no ways.